This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. He was convicted, then acquitted of second-degree murder in the 1984 death of Winnipeg teenager Candace Dirksen. Now, Mark Edward Grant has been arrested in British Columbia, charged in connection with a sexual assault involving a woman in her 60s. The CBC's Alana Cole brings us more on the charges and the reaction from Dirksen's family.
Mark Edward Grant's name is one many people in Winnipeg will recognize. On Tuesday, British Columbia's prosecution service confirmed Grant is charged with unlawful confinement, sexual assault with a weapon, and uttering threats. The charges are linked to an incident alleged to have happened on January 8th in the Vancouver area. Grant's the man who was arrested and convicted of second-degree murder for the death of 13-year-old Candace Dirksen. He was later found not guilty at a retrial. Dirksen had been missing for weeks. Her body was found in January 1985, tied up in an industrial storage shed not far from her family's home. It was determined she had died from exposure. Her mother, Wilma Dirksen, found out about Grant's arrest in this BC case when another media outlet contacted her. She says it brought tears to her eyes.
I guess living it a bit again and feeling the pain of the victim and the parents of the victim and the family of the victim.
Wilma Dirksen says she will now be following what happens in this case. The prosecution service says Grant is in custody with his next court appearance scheduled for January 28th. Alana Cole, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The Manitoba government is temporarily walking back a decision to stop using dozens of nursing agencies. If you remember, it was just days ago that the province cut all but 4 of those agencies loose. The CBC's Ian Fraze has more on the impact cutting private nursing agencies had on some rural hospitals and how the province now hopes to move away from them again in the future.
Some critics say Manitoba's government should have known cutting nursing agencies would bring problems. Last week, the government forced public health care facilities to cut back from using dozens of private companies to fill nursing shifts to just a handful. Problems arose immediately. Now the government is letting those public health care facilities to use those old agencies again, at least for now.
For the nurses' sake, and for the patient care sake, I think there's nothing else we can do at this point.
On January 15th, Manitoba cut the almost 80 private agencies to help fill nursing shifts to just 4. The province hoped those nurses would join the chosen agencies or preferably the public system. The government wanted to reduce Manitoba's reliance on expensive agency nurses, but
clearly, we were not in a position to be ready to go with that because we had some facilities in crisis with no staff.
Dauphins Hospital closed a 4-bed unit providing high-level care.
That has a spillover effect on multiple clinical areas in terms of our ability to provide appropriate stroke services, as well as our ability to manage and take on higher risk surgical cases.
And in Swan River, the ER had half the nurses it usually does. Tory health critic Kathleen Cook says the province should only have made this change in regions with few shifts to fill.
They could have focused on eliminating those vacancies, on filling those vacancies in Prairie Mountain Health before they essentially handcuffed the RHA and took the agency option away from them.
Health Minister Yazoma Astaguera says the province will still move forward with the 4 agencies, but no timeline has been set. The province is betting new regulations on agency nurses will lead to more nurses moving to the public system as traveling nurses, leaving the agencies behind. Ian Fraze, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, we are about to go into a very cold stretch of weather here in Manitoba. We'll bring you more on some of the weather alerts in place in just a moment. This all comes as people living and working at a building in Wolseley have been without proper heat since the beginning of the month. And as the CBC's Gavin Axelrod reports, it is causing stress and discomfort and has left some feeling like not enough is being done.
Raina Enns turns on a shop heater in her Westminster Avenue apartment. The building's boiler had to be turned off in early January and hasn't come back on since.
We're all very frustrated. We don't really get any actual answers. Everyone else is also very cold.
City bylaws say rental properties must have a temperature of 21 degrees during the day and at least 18 overnight. Enns has been working with a bylaw officer and says she's been in touch with the residential tenancies branch.
He did temperature readings in each room, took photos of a bunch of stuff, and had said that the temperature now is within an okay range, but there will be an order to replace the boiler quicker.
It looks like it's like 6 or 7.
Organic plant worker Co-op is a tenant in the building too. Staff are bundling up to get through the day.
We're definitely noticing things on the shelves are going bad. And if it gets even colder, it'll get worse.
In a statement, Thorwin Properties says the boiler was shut down January 4th after elevated carbon monoxide readings were detected. They've been trying to fix it and have been giving residents electric heaters. They say the boiler may require replacement and all options are being evaluated. Thorwin Properties also says City of Winnipeg bylaw officers have been at the property and remain satisfied with the steps taken to date.
I think meeting the bare minimum requirements of people being able to survive isn't enough, and it's hard when the laws dictate all you have to do is this, when you should be doing this.
In an email to residents on January 17th, Thorwin said after a full assessment and several repair attempts, it was told further fixes wouldn't provide a reliable or sustainable solution. Replacement parts aren't expected to arrive for several weeks.
We are at 17.6 degrees inside.
Enns says tenants deserve better than the current response. She's now started staying at a hotel because of the conditions. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And that leads us to a first check on our forecast. And as I mentioned, we are really setting up for a very cold stretch of weather really right across the province. Let's get a first check on those details with weather specialist Mickey Wolf.
Thanks, Riley. Well, we've got some cold days ahead of us for Manitoba, and we've got some warnings active across the province right now. Let's take a look at some of those warnings a little bit closer because it looks like orange across the province. And no, folks, this is not a stylistic choice. We are seeing an orange level cold warning across Manitoba. So what does that mean? We're seeing wind chill values down to -45 and to -40 during the day. So again, those overnight temperatures might feel colder than more -45 as we get into the evening tonight, and those will extend into the week this week. Our skies right now thankfully aren't looking too snowy, and our day ahead for us tomorrow, we are seeing colder temperatures for sure in the morning, and now these are the base temperatures we're seeing here, folks, but with that wind chill it will feel closer to -40. So Riley, I will have all of the details on what to expect over the next few days in the full forecast coming up.
Sounds good. Bundle up. Thank you, Mickey. The group representing more than 24 Manitoba First Nations is demanding a meeting with the province and Manitoba Hydro's board chair. Manitoba Kiwatanawi Okamakinak says it wants to discuss what it calls ongoing failures and obligations to Northern First Nations. The meeting comes after Hydro said shotgun pellet damage was found on marker balls that were attached to a power line that failed, resulting in a days-long power outage in Pimicikamak Cree Nation. However, Hydro says it is still unclear if the shotgun pellets had anything at all to do with that line failing. MKO calls Hydro's explanation unacceptable, irresponsible, and inflammatory. Meantime, Manitoba Hydro is forecasting a loss of $464 million this fiscal year. The red ink comes at a time when the Crown Corporation is on a multi-year $7 billion plan to replace and upgrade its aging transmission systems. It is also looking for more power generation to meet peak demand times into the next decade. Hydro blames the losses on droughts in 3 of the last 4 years for leaving less water to generate electricity and therefore less power to sell. The utility also must spend tens of billions of dollars to increase generating capacity and replace aging infrastructure. A man is in custody after police say he slammed the vehicle he was driving into a house while trying to flee from officers. Winnipeg police say it happened around 2 o'clock Tuesday morning in North St. Boniface. Police say officers spotted a vehicle without a front license plate pull into a parking lot on Provencher Boulevard. They say they tried to initiate a traffic stop when the man took off, almost hit 2 officers. While not long after, they were called to Dollard Boulevard, where callers reported that a vehicle had crashed into a house. Police later found the suspect being treated for injuries in hospital. The 41-year-old now faces numerous charges. All right, you're looking at some shots of our city as we head to break. Stay with us. We have more local news when we return. Welcome back. Two survivors of childhood sexual abuse confronted their abuser in a Winnipeg courtroom this morning. Now, typically, we wouldn't be able to bring you their names, usually because publication bans are issued in order to protect them. But in this case, the two survivors took the unusual step of allowing themselves to be identified publicly. The CBC's Caitlin Gowerluck was in court and has more.
As kids, they were abused for years by a man who was supposed to take care of them. On Wednesday, Raven Dominic and Jeffrey Gobet confronted that man in court, reading from victim impact statements about how their lives were devastated by what he did.
The last time I saw him, I think I was like 5 or 6 years old, being apprehended and placed in the back of a police car.
For years before that, they were being sexually assaulted by Thomas Martin Butler, the father of their half-siblings. Butler was convicted of more than a dozen offenses after a trial last year. Prosecutors want him sentenced to 25 years because of how bad the abuse was. Butler's defense wants 10 years for the now 69-year-old, citing his age and health issues. The judge will decide his fate in March. In most cases, survivors of sexual abuse aren't named to protect them, but the Gobet siblings wanted to be identified.
I'd like people to know and understand there's no shame in being a victim. And part of my case is I was told by my abuser to never speak on what happened to me. Now I'll tell everyone.
I think it's important to remind people that, we are actually people, we are individuals, we exist, we accomplish things despite what's happened to us.
She's now a lawyer focused on child welfare and First Nations law. Her brother, a social worker and comedian. They hope sharing their story could help others find a way forward.
But it is possible to not only get through this process, but to come out thriving.
He says he's already started hearing from other survivors of abuse about how they might be able to find the courage to come forward too. Caitlin Gowerluck, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A 26-year-old man is facing new charges in connection with a separate child abuse investigation. In September, Winnipeg police arrested two foster parents, accusing them of assaults on a pair of kids, one of whom is said to have life-changing injuries. Investigators continued their work, and since then, another child came forward with a report of being hurt while in his care. Officers say the suspect was rearrested in November and faces new charges, including assault with a weapon. He is now being held in custody, as is the 25-year-old woman who was charged in the original case. We take you to Nova Scotia now, where nearly 6 years after her former partner killed 22 people in Canada's deadliest mass shooting, Lisa Banfield is sharing her story in a new memoir. But as Kayla Hounsell tells us, the families of some of Gabriel Wortman's other victims are furious.
Things that happen behind closed doors need to be told.
For 19 years, she stayed silent about life with the man who would become the worst mass shooter in modern Canadian history. Not anymore. Lisa Banfield says for much of their time together, Gabriel Wortman abused her.
Gabriel threatened my family, so I couldn't leave.
In April 2020, Wortman went on a rampage, masquerading as an RCMP officer with a replica police car, killing 22 people, including a pregnant woman. It began with an attack on Banfield. Now she's telling her story in a book, and to the Current's Matt Galloway.
My story needs to be told because it's not just my story, it's a lot of people's story.
But the families of those murdered are still grieving, and many are angry about Banfield's book.
It's brought on a lot of trauma again.
Tammy Oliver McCurdy lost her sister Jolene Oliver, brother-in-law Aaron Tuck, and her 17-year-old niece, Emily.
It's about that she's making money off the backs of our deceased family members. Like, there are lots of stories like that she have to take our story.
The RCMP originally charged Banfield with providing ammunition to Wortman. The charge was withdrawn after she completed a restorative justice program. The public inquiry examining the mass shooting was clear. Banfield is a victim and was re-victimized by the RCMP. The final report points to the societal failure to recognize the connection between gender-based violence and mass shootings. We believe this lesson to be the single most important one to be learned from this mass casualty, the commissioners wrote.
I think her story is really important.
This expert in intimate partner violence says the backlash against Banfield is evidence little has changed since 2020.
I don't believe anything has changed on a societal level. In regards to the systemic and cultural shift needed, there's been very little movement.
Banfield says she lives with survivor's guilt and is still in therapy, but also finding her voice.
People are going to say whatever they want about me and judge me, but if I could help one person throughout all of this, I can take that.
Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Halifax.
Therapy dogs brought joy and comfort to residents of Riverview Health Centre today. Dogs from the Winnipeg Humane Society visited residents offering comfort in exchange for cuddles and, of course, lots of pets. It is all part of a variety of activities the centre is holding right now aimed at celebrating its community.
They're so quiet and compassionate, it seems, and they just want to be close to you, and it just makes you feel good. It's such a wonderful feeling, and they're so well behaved, these dogs.
And the volunteers also say the dogs benefit from the weekly visits, which promote the well-being of Riverview residents. And certainly better to spend some time indoors with the pups because we are looking at some very cold temperatures moving into the province as we get into the next few days. Mickey is back with our full forecast.
Thanks, Riley. Well, we do have some cold days coming up for Manitoba, but what about the rest of the weather? How do our skies look and what's the snowfall like? Let's take a look at the week coming up ahead here over the next few days. Now, we've got a little bit of snowfall throughout the province overnight Thursday, but not too much. And then Friday and Saturday, things are looking very clear for us. So, at least we don't have too much snow to contend with, but let's get specific about those numbers. We've got up to 3 centimeters for Churchill, and then Winnipeg and Brandon might see 1 centimeter. So, thankfully we're not having a lot of snow to contend with along with this extreme cold. But our wind gusting, as you can see here, tomorrow morning we are looking at gusting up to 52 for Gimli, and Winnipeg is seeing wind gusting up to 41. So that's kind of what's bringing in these very, very cold feeling temperatures. And then as well, as we get into Thursday evening, those overnight hours, we are seeing that gusting up to 49 for Winnipeg. So that's going to create definitely some colder feeling temperatures. It's not the best time to be walking your furry friends, but they need to get outside, and Farley here is nice and bundled up. Farley's got little booties on, courtesy of Tracy and Bruce. Thank you so much for submitting this photo of Farley. And if you'd like to see your pet on our show, email those pictures to talkback@cbc.ca. Maybe even we'll get some super cold pets in the next few days in this weather. Some very brave pets. Taking a look ahead at our next 3 days, we've got a freezing day ahead of us tomorrow for Thursday. That wind chill down to -40 during the day. The evenings again, folks, are going to look a lot colder, especially Friday and Saturday night with those wind chill values. So it's a good time to put on all of your dog walking clothing for you and your little friend. This cold is brutal on the humans, but it's also hard on our pets as well. So Riley, I will have more details in the 7-day forecast coming up about potentially some warm-ups we might see across the province heading into the end of the week and a little bit into next week.
All right, good reminder. Thanks, Mickey. Yeah, certainly don't forget the booties and the sweater if you're taking the pup out. We have more to come right after this. Well, after public pushback, the City of Winnipeg will be keeping in place a bird-friendly window requirement for new builds around major corridors and malls. The CBC's Bryce Hoy joins us in studio with more on this story. So Bryce, walk us through what happened at City Hall.
Well, Bradley, bird lovers in Winnipeg are happy as a lark today. Late this afternoon, a bylaw on the chopping block designed to reduce bird window collisions was saved by City Council.
We have found a compromise that both will, be something that developers can build with, and hopefully we can get more density on corridors and mall sites. But at the same time, we are still going to make sure that there's treatment on the windows to protect birds.
Ahead of the vote, Councillor Brian Mays said that he's never seen this kind of chirping from the public for a zoning bylaw amendment.
Over 700 people have objected to just deleting any bird protection, unprecedented in my 14 years here.
Those objections from concerned members of the public and local conservation experts. The city was considering getting rid of a bird-friendly window requirement. It just came into effect this time last year, and it only applied to new mixed-use developments around malls and major roadways in Winnipeg. The intent of the mall and roadway plan: build more housing. But the city says developers raised concerns about cost and said it presented other barriers. Allison Conrad was among the flock of hundreds to voice opposition to the city late last year. They told council today up to 42 million birds die per year in Canada from window strikes.
Housing and birds and biodiversity are not mutually exclusive. They're not at odds. You can have both of them together. If you want a livable city, people need places to live, and people want to engage with nature and not see dead birds on the sidewalk.
Now, after an entire day of discussion and input from birders and nature lovers like Conrad, council voted through a motion to keep the bird safe requirement in place. The public service was given a little bit more discretion, more leeway to decide what kind of collision deterrence developers can use in builds. Today, City Council also reviewed two other proposed amendments concerning building height. Riley?
Thank you, Bryce. The CBC's Bryce Hoy in studio. Well, let's take you overseas now to some international news and a dramatic turnaround on Greenland. U.S. President Donald Trump says he has reached the framework for a deal on the future of the Danish Arctic island. It all happened on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Now, the deal seems to appease U.S. needs while at the same time ending a looming showdown with NATO. Katie Nicholson brings us more from Washington.
After weeks of increasingly ominous language from the U.S. about acquiring Greenland, it appears the solution could be on the table. In a post on social media, U.S. President Donald Trump wrote, "Based upon a very productive meeting that I have had with the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, we have formed the framework of a future deal with respect to Greenland and, in fact, the entire Arctic region. This solution, if consummated, will be a great one for the United States of America and all NATO nations. Based upon this understanding, I will not be imposing the tariffs that were scheduled to go into effect on February 1st. The specifics of this deal unknown, and it isn't clear whether the U.S. would be able to claim any ownership over Greenland. So far, Trump only had brief, vague remarks about it, but says it gets the U.S. everything it needs.
It's a long-term deal. It's the ultimate long-term deal. And I think it puts everybody in a really good position, especially as it pertains to security and minerals and everything else.
It's not clear either how on board the Danish government may be with this plan, though earlier today its foreign minister said that if today's developments mean that they can return to more normal channels than posts on Truth Social, that is good. All of this happening on the heels of Trump's long World Economic Forum speech this morning, in which he ruled out using military force to acquire Greenland, but repeated something he said yesterday, that the U.S. will be there for NATO, but he wondered whether NATO would be there for the U.S. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte had this response.
You can be assured, absolutely, if ever the U.S. will be under attack, your allies will be with you. Absolutely, there's an absolute guarantee. I really want to tell you this because it is important. It pains me if you think it is not.
NATO says negotiations on this U.S.-Greenland framework will continue between the 7 Arctic allies, which includes, of course, Canada. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
So in his speech to the World Economic Forum, the U.S. president also admonished our prime minister and Canada as a whole. He was outlining his defense needs for Greenland when Trump made it clear he isn't happy about Mark Carney's speech yesterday, in which he said world powers were using economic integration as weapons.
We're building a golden dome that's going to, just by its very nature, going to be defending Canada. Canada gets a lot of freebies from us, by the way. They should be grateful also, but they're not. I watched your prime minister yesterday. He wasn't so grateful. But they should be grateful to us. Canada lives because of the United States. Remember that, Mark, the next time you make your statements.
Trump also mentioned Canada while touting the supposed benefits of his global tariffs. He said the levies are bringing hundreds of big factories and car plants back to the United States, including from Canada. Now, the Prime Minister left the World Economic Forum around the same time the U.S. president was arriving in Switzerland. Mark Carney's office has confirmed the two leaders did not interact. Ashley Burke has that story.
The Prime Minister is on his way back to Ottawa without meeting with Donald Trump in Davos. The U.S. president said that he had a lot of meetings scheduled in Switzerland to talk about Greenland and suggested that he could use tools beyond tariffs to take over the Arctic island. Canada's trade minister is also here for talks as part of Carney's delegation. He was asked by journalists why they aren't sticking around to try and meet with the president.
There's things to do back in Canada, as you know. Parliament's resuming on Monday. We have our cabinet retreat, and there's things that we've got to take care of for Canadians. I think what we wanted to do here in Davos, we've accomplished that, have many conversations with industry leaders to pitch Canada.
Carney has been meeting with European allies facing Trump's latest tariff threat if they resist his bid to take over Greenland. He spoke with the head of Sweden and NATO Secretary General. In a provocative speech yesterday, Carney said that Canada strongly opposes tariffs on Greenland. He also called the U.S. a hegemon. He was careful not to directly name Donald Trump, but his words were widely interpreted as criticism of the U.S. Carney said that middle powers have to stand up against great powers using economic might, including tariffs, to get what they want.
Call it what it is, a system of intensifying great power rivalry, where the most powerful pursue their interests using economic integration as coercion. It means acting consistently, applying the same standards to allies and rivals.
Carney also said that it's time for middle powers like Canada to stop staying silent and come together to criticize economic intimidation, no matter where it's coming from. The Prime Minister's visit to Davos was the final stop on a trip that took him around the globe, from China to Qatar to here in Switzerland, to deepen ties with new partners and bring in investment outside of the U.S. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Quarton, Switzerland.
Now, staying in Switzerland, Donald Trump is hoping to establish the so-called Board of Peace while in Davos this week, but he is facing challenges. Several countries have declined his invitation. In European capitals, there is concern the board's scope might expand beyond the conflict in Gaza and ultimately rival the UN Security Council's role in mediating global conflicts. But some countries have accepted the invitation. That now includes Israel, which had previously expressed reservations. Sasha Petrusik has more.
Just a few days ago, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was criticizing Donald Trump's Board of Peace, saying it should never be offering places in this structure for officials from Turkey and Qatar, two countries that Israel claims are too close to Hamas militants. Well, today Israel did an about-face, joining the Board of Peace. But the prevailing winds in this country, the political winds, are still very much the same. There's a lot of influence from far-right parties, settler groups, those groups that have been pushing Netanyahu to keep fighting during the war. That's the kind of view that Israel will be taking onto the board. But other countries have been more reluctant to take their places here. There are close to 60 invitations that were sent out. Only 8 countries have actually agreed to sit on the board, and even some of those are having second thoughts. Canada, for instance, is saying that it will sit on the board, but it still wants answers to some important questions. This whole question of whether countries need to pay perhaps up to $1 billion to be on the board. But there's no question that all of this is really supposed to be solving the problems in Gaza. Canada, for one, wants aid to be at the top of that list, but many others are not talking about aid. They're still talking about the fighting that is continuing at a lower level, but it is continuing, and whether Israel will, in fact, stop fighting if Hamas disarms. That is another big, huge question. Trump referred to it today in his speech, saying that Hamas has promised to disarm, but if it doesn't keep that promise, in his words, they are going to be blown away. Those are the kinds of discussions that are still going on over the Board of Peace. It is still a very fuzzy operation, a very fuzzy process, and whether it can actually bring about a ceasefire and peace in Gaza is very much an open question. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Jerusalem.
Well, to Spain now, where the country's largest drivers' union has called a nationwide strike after another deadly rail accident, the second in just days. A commuter train outside of Barcelona derailed on Tuesday evening after hitting a retaining wall that fell onto the tracks during heavy rain. At least one person was killed and about 40 others injured. That accident occurred as 3 days of mourning began for victims of a horrific crash involving two trains on Sunday. At least 43 people were killed and more than 120 others injured in that accident. The cause is still unknown. All right, still ahead, it's an iconic van covered in tiny trinkets and shells. After having drawn thousands of visitors over the years, it is now up for sale. That story's coming up next. All right, so it is a quirky and popular site in Toronto's west, and a van covered in action figures and shells. But now the longtime owner is looking to sell his ride. Mercedes Jan.21 has the story.
If you live near downtown Toronto, you may have seen this decked-out van, either being driven around town or parked in front of Albino Carrera's equally unique house on Clinton Street. Carrera is now 81 years old, has lost his driver's license, and can't care for the car anymore. So his granddaughter says it's time for it to go to a new home.
He asked myself and my dad, but then we're like, it's just going to stay in the garage. But he was just like, okay, then maybe sell it, but like for a good price. He's like, that's worth $1 million. And I'm like, okay. We'll see what we can get.
Earlier this week, Carrera suffered a stroke and is now in hospital. With repairs to their house needed and her grandfather's health declining, Diaz posted the car on Facebook Marketplace and woke up to a wave of messages from neighbors, asking if her grandfather was all right and offering up to $9,000 for the van so far. Diaz says it's hard to put a price on something so sentimental.
He's just very sad. Every time he mentions it, he's crying or he's like, oh my God, when you were little, we did this, we did that. He's like, he wants it to go to somebody who's willing to care for it, not remove everything. Even he's like, it should be in a museum, it should be somewhere, for people to see. He wants people to see it.
For Diaz, the van carries a lifetime of memories with her grandfather.
Do you have a favorite thing on here or something that always catches your eye?
Elmo.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even see him.
That's really ancient.
He's so cute.
Elmo and My Little Pony. This is actually mine, so why is it here?
Over the years, thousands of visitors and even celebrities would stop by to take photos. Carrera's neighbors also see themselves in his work.
I curbed this thing, it was trash. And then a few weeks later, I found it was part of the mosaic. So I'm like, okay, this is it's like he's assembling, a little mosaic of the neighborhood. Just nice to see that there's some kookiness and whimsy left in the world.
Carrera's granddaughter says she's waiting for the right price and the right buyer to hopefully preserve the family's legacy. Mercedes Jan.21, CBC News, Toronto.
All right, let's stay in the Greater Toronto area where it was another snowy day today. The city was under its second snowfall warning today in just under a week. And while some had no plans of leaving the house, others say it was all part of the Canadian charm.
I'm probably not going to go out when the snow comes if it's over the weekend.
Really hard to get to school and stuff, but other than that, it's okay. I mean, it's fun to play with my family and my little sister and stuff.
The snow doesn't bother me. You dress right, it's no big deal. This is Canada. Grow up.
Now, this latest system was expected to bring 10 centimeters of heavy snow and poor visibility due to blowing snow. City crews in Toronto today were forced to pause their snow removal efforts from last week's storm so they could focus on salting and plowing today. So there it is, the snow here in Manitoba and really right across the prairie provinces. It is the cold that will be the story in the coming days. And not just the cold wind chill values, with that comes the risk of frostbite. And when we get to some of those wind chill values, -45 to -50, that's frostbite on exposed skin in minutes. So certainly take care in the cold. Mickey is back with another check on our Manitoba forecast.
Thanks, Riley. Well, for folks tuning in, we've got an active orange level cold warning across Manitoba. So things are going to be feeling very cold as of tonight into the rest of the week. Let's take a look at a little bit more detail on this warning. As you can see, covering the entire province, we are seeing that wind chill feeling like -40 in the daytime hours for the province tomorrow, and then down to -45 or colder with wind chill overnight. But what do we have in store across the province tonight? Let's take a look. So as you can see, our base temperatures here are near -30 or even colder. So with the wind chill again, we are going to get an especially cold night tonight for southern Manitoba. And it's much of the same in the north. Norway House is seeing a low of -36 tonight. And again, these temperatures are without wind chill at this time. So expect that extreme cold with some of those more dangerous conditions for frostbite. Now, as we get into the morning tomorrow, we are seeing a little bit of a warm up throughout the day, but again, Wind chill is going to make things feel very cold. Daytime highs again closer to -40 with wind chill across the province, and it's much of the same in the south, but especially in the southwest, we at least get a little bit of sun to make things feel somewhat warmer, and I will take it personally. Let's look at our temperature trends here so we get a better picture of where things are standing across the province. As you can see here, folks, we've got that -30 clear across the province with those colder days, and then by Saturday we're starting to see things slowly rise a little bit. But where's our snowpack at? That's an important question we're going to ask tonight. We're seeing a little bit more snowpack up in the north and quite a bit less for the south. So, thankfully, as we saw earlier, we won't see too much snowfall accumulation in the province over the next few days. Hopefully that, sort of evens things out in terms of how brutal these temperatures are feeling. We've got the winds and the cold to contend with, but luckily, no snow so far, or at least very, very little snow. Again, it's potentially up to 3 centimeters, as that's as much as we'll see across the province. So Riley, I'm just really looking forward to the next few days being over so we can get into a little bit of a warm up to close out January and move into February with hopefully warmer temperatures.
All right, thanks, Mickey. Shovels hit the ground on nearly 5,000 new homes in Winnipeg last year. The city says that is the second highest annual total in the city's history. They tout the aggressive policy and planning changes for helping increase housing starts. But has all of that new construction translated into new homes? That's one of the questions Mayor Scott Gillingham was asked this morning by Marcy Marcusa on Information Radio.
Help us make sense of the housing starts. So 5,000 new homes in Winnipeg last year, second highest total in our history, up 12%. That's one of the numbers. More than double the Canadian average. So that seems obviously like good news. But then fewer homes finished construction. They dropped more than 35% compared to the year before. So does this mean, and I hope listeners can follow my logic here, does it mean we'll be back to some, regular numbers of starts or fewer starts or even lower this year? Because if builders can't build fast enough, we won't be able to catch up. Like, is this a good news story, or where's the cause for concern?
Well, it's for sure a good news story. As you say, Winnipeg's number doubled the national average when it came to housing starts. We were at 12.3%. The national average was 5.6%. In regards to the number of completions being lower, I mean, once housing has been permitted, there could be a number of factors really that influence the completion dates. It could be the reporting of the timeline of reporting. It could start in 1 year and not get completed within that year, and it will get captured as a completion in the following year. But this really would be a good question too, I think, for the development community as to what factors are causing or are behind not completing the housing that's being started as quickly as possible. But overall, it's very good news for Winnipeg. We have talked about, with you before, you've reported on the fact that we don't have enough housing in Winnipeg. Mm-hmm. We as a council have been really focused with our public service as well, working very hard together to get housing approved. And that has been happening. We're getting housing approved faster.
Do we need more builders?
I don't know that we need more builders.
Or more people in the trades?
It could be. We have put a lot of approvals through, which is really, really exciting. In fact, it's been reported just last week. I think we were talking about it, that right now they're under construction or about to begin construction. In Winnipeg's downtown alone, there will be up to 5,000 new residents living in Winnipeg's downtown because there's so much housing being built in the center of our city. So it's really, really good news. It kind of couples with the population growth that we have seen. Now, I think, the population growth rate will begin to wane a little bit. We're already seeing that. But we've hit 850,000 people in Winnipeg. We need housing for all those people.
Okay, last minute, and we had a really comprehensive conversation with Bjorn Radstrom from the city about transit. Obviously, ridership is down. He said it's part of adjusting to a new system. He also cited the reduced number of newcomers allowed into the country. I think a lot of people sort of thought, really, is that really affecting things? There were some people skeptical that was, but he acknowledged that's one of the reasons. Well, my question to you is, when do you worry? When do you go, okay, maybe this system, even though we planned it well and we researched it, doesn't work for the city of Winnipeg? When do you worry? When do you look at that?
Well, first of all, to the skeptics, respectfully, Bjorn's right. Bjorn Radstrom is right. For sure, immigration, the drop in immigration numbers, absolutely, and international students for sure is one of the reasons that the ridership has dropped. In fact, it's dropping across Canada in transit systems. However, the new system we rolled out, I believe, is the right system. I'm not pleased with the way it's rolled out. I hear from transit riders, they're frustrated. I acknowledge that. We are working now to improve the system and make adjustments as necessary, adding more late night service, early morning service, more buses to deal with some of the capacity issues in the morning. We're adding transit shelters. And so I ask riders, thank you for your patience. I acknowledge that some are frustrated and right, and fairly so. But we are making the changes. We're working to improve transit. We're working to make transit safer for everybody. We're working to make transit better for everybody.
Coming up, talk about icing on the cake. One Calgarian goes up in her attic to investigate a chilly breeze in her home, but found a sweet surprise instead. That story's coming up. A town in southern Ecuador is once again a sea of bright yellow. Thousands of guayacan trees have bloomed following the first seasonal rains of the month. The annual phenomenon covers 400 square kilometers of dry tropical forest. It occurs only once a year and lasts just days. Every year, tourists flock there to walk community trails and take in this natural spectacle.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm certainly looking forward to the next few days being over, moving past this cold spell we're seeing across the province. Let's take a look at our extended forecast for Winnipeg. So as you can see, folks, here we've got those brutally cold temperatures. Thursday extending into Sunday. You know, those overnight temperatures, these are the daytimes reflected here for wind chill. Overnight, we're looking at a drop to -45 with wind chill. But then as we get into Monday and Tuesday, we see a bit of a warm up, and I don't know if -17 has ever felt balmier to me than in the context of this week, and then potentially closing that out, that cold spell out rather, with some snow Wednesday. So Riley, I hope everybody stays nice and bundled and warm over the next few days.
For sure. Thank you, Mickey. Well, we've done plenty of stories over the years of people finding surprises in their homes while renovating or moving. Sometimes it's an old newspaper or photos from years gone by. Well, a Calgary homeowner investigating a cold wind blowing through her home got a surprise of her own, and that is our Daily Lift tonight. All right, so this is Sarah Rankin. She climbed into the attic of her Calgary home to investigate why cold air was blowing through the house. But instead, she found this, a decades-old wedding cake. She says despite the age of the cake, her daughter still wants to take a slice.
Also, my daughter, who's 9 years old, says that she thinks it smells good and she'd like to try it.
Rankin says she believes the cake is owned by the previous owner of the home. She says the dessert appears to be some kind of a fruit cake. She has attempted to reach out to their daughter, but has yet to hear back. For now, though, she plans on keeping the cake in the attic away from hungry eyes. You must have to have a really strong stomach in order to stomach that. I'm not going near that one. And that is our program for this evening. Thank you so much for being with us. Have a great night.